Alright, Paradise Lost, Part 2. They didn't screw it up. They didn't screw it up. Is it as good as it could be? No. Is it bad? No. It's satisfying. There are a few hickety ups with the ending fight, but overall, as a total package, this is a satisfying experience. The whole thing works. I don't know why it took them so long to get something so from beginning to end satisfying. They're not creating a world out of nothing. They're create This is the DC universe. This is so long in rich a history of stories that they should have hit with something like this earlier. I understand there's training bumps, and I'm glad they're there. I'm not bitching. This makes me happy. This is a happy person. So, why does this episode work where the others have fell apart? Because it has emotional resonance. There's an arc that follows, and it's relatable. It's passionate. This is Wonder Woman's story, and you go from her wanting to reconnect with her mother and her people to and well, I'm just going to spoil it, so please have watched the episode beforehand. Being exiled for essentially doing what she had to do to save them. I wondered earlier in the last episode. I mean, it seemed kind of clunky that they were the reason they couldn't go. She talks about, well, men can't go to Themyscira. I thought, okay, well, there's a whole bunch of other reasons. Why are they saying that one in particular? But then it comes around in this, and that I understand why that line is there as it is, instead of a lot of other good reasons why it can't be done. So when they show up, I kind of knew where it was going to happen, but that there wasn't that same thing like in part one. It's like, oh, here's the expectation, and then they change it. Here there's the expectation and the payoff, but the payoff is so well done and so satisfactory. You don't give a shit. You don't give a shit. You go, that's what I thought was going to happen, but it was really well done, so fuck it. And John Rhys Davies as Hades is so fun. He must have been just happy as a pig and shit to do this role, because it just oozes him having a good time. You can't imagine him sitting in the booth there having a crappy day. He was loving doing this. All the actors are on point. The Flash gets a little annoying because he's got that hyper male thing. Ooh, look at all the girls. I mean, I get it. I've been constantly saying I get it in these videos. I understand they're playing up the machismo angle with him, and that's not necessarily included. If you think of earlier in Wally's run, not the later stuff where I really became a fan, but the very much the earlier stuff, he was kind of the chasing skirts kind of guy. Wasn't really necessarily quite so nice to the ladies. he was immature, and his relationships reflected a man who could not handle maturity or anything like that. But they grew the character, and that's where I fell in love with him, is the later stuff. Anyways, they have him here kind of like, girls. And that gets a little annoying. And then at the end, they have the whole thing where Diana gets exiled. And he's the one who's like, this is bogus, this is bull. And Batman, essentially just kind of yanks him by his little, well, I don't think he actually did it, but it would have been funny if he grabbed him by the little ear wing and drug him off. But he's like, don't make this any harder. And that's the part. That's one of the things. That's like I said about the Flash in this show. The Flash is the audience. He says the thing that the audience is feeling, and without that filter of being poetic or a great orator like he's Jean-Luc Picarding everything. It's off the cuff. It's that immediate. No, this sucks. You're gonna reward us and then exile her. That's bullshit. And it comes off. And it's a little annoying because it's way insensitive to what Diana's going through, and then they acknowledge that, thankfully. But it just I understand. Dear, I want to quit saying that one of these days. Not today though. They have this Flash that has that reaction, that they've set him up, but I can't believe that even he is that oblivious. He's running around. He doesn't have much of a filter, but he's a human being. In that situation, 99.9% of us know to shut the hell up. Especially she's taking this on the chin and doing it to honor their ways, and that's what the Amazonians do. That's their rules, and she's acknowledging that and accepting that. And here he's just ballyhooing and carrying on, and it's annoying. It's kind of annoying. It needs. I mean, I'm not sad it's there. I'm happy it's there, but they could have they had it at the Spinal Tap 11. They could have been down to about 8. 8 would have been plenty, and that would still be pushing it. Other than that, I mean, it's really just they explain who Felix Faust is, at least in this universe. They have a fun scene when they go to his apartment or whatever, and they start looking around through his stuff. The Flash grabs a magical doohickey, lets off a beam, and Batman gets all pissed off at him and says, "Don't touch anything," and all the other guys are holding crap in their hands, and they just put it back down. That's very funny, very well done. And it is, they don't get explicitly, I mean, I like that in the fight, Superman was getting his ass beat. The fire and stuff was really kind of screwing him up, which makes sense in that because Superman's always been vulnerable to magic. I don't know why some of the other ones were so affected by it. Certainly Diana shouldn't. The Martian Manhunter has got no problem with magic as far as I know. But it was weird things like just little things where I'd be like, okay, I can accept that, but it seems weird. Like Batman ropes Hades, and then Diana uses her lasso, and he shocks them both, and it's enough force to knock them both back. The force required to knock Wonder Woman back, and the force required to knock Batman back, there's a power difference there. It's a split second, and it doesn't really affect the episode. I just was like, huh. Okay, that works in the moment, but if I take 2 seconds to think, I'm going to go, maybe it's some spiritual magic mumbo jumbo. Who the hell knows? Who the hell cares? Point being, from beginning to end, Paradise Lost is the first solid hit for this show. The writer was on his... I don't know why everybody else had such yin yang. Oh, the first part's good and the second part's shit. Or this is a great ending. Too bad they just set it up for crap. I don't know why they couldn't put 2 episodes in a row together. They did it here, and I'm happy they did. But here's the sad part: I'm going to hold them to this standard. I'm not going to just backslide and be like, oh well, they've shown they can make this level of show. They go back to here, I'm going to go, Well, guys, I understand you're still growing pains, but you already made this. Why am I getting this again? This is just middle of the road. This is what you want. They're here. If they backslide, I'm not going to have any mercy. All right. That's all I got.